And I'm Jane.
And we're SpielMill.
And this is the Shelf of Shameful Opportunity. This is where we look at the games that we've gotten to the table for the first time, and we talk about what we think.
Yeah, and if you're new to this list, the reason we're doing this is for a couple of years, Jane was really sick, and we got nothing to the table. And so we've got this backlog of games on our Shelf of Opportunity. We really want to get through them and kind of figure out what can stay and what needs to go. So we've been kind of chugging through them and just playing new games.
Yeah, so this is our ninth video in this series. And in this one, we have 8 games to talk about. Yeah. So we'll try to be quick.
All right.
All right.
Well, let's kick off. We are in the middle of Uwe Palooza, where we are playing all of our Uwe Rosenberg games. As you can see behind us, we've got quite a few. He's one of our favorite designers. And so in this episode, we're going to talk about At the Gates of Loyang.
Yep. This is a game about farming vegetables.
Yep. And selling vegetables to customers.
Yep.
So I think we have I think we kind of split a little bit on our feelings about this game. I really love it. I don't mind. Well, why don't you talk about it first?
Why? I like it. I just found I really loved it after the first game, and then I don't know. By the end of our sort of couple games that we played, I just felt a little less in love with it. And that was just because of, I think, the card luck factor, primarily. There is some take that in the game, too, which I do not love. The take that's not the worst, but I don't like it. I don't like take that. And with the thing I didn't like is there's a mechanism where it's a pretty big action. It can be very powerful, where you draw 2 cards from the deck, but you just get what you get, you know? And there was a high luck factor that could be really rewarding or not rewarding at all. And I thought that was kind of swingy.
Yeah, and so basically what happens is every round each player gets 4 cards, and you choose to put one down in the center and then keep the rest, and you go until you decide to like stop, and then you're going to keep 1 card from your hand and take 1 card for the center. And those cards are going to give you your customers. They're going to give you...
And that part was fine.
People with special powers, and they're going to give you trading stalls where you can trade your vegetables. And so that's kind of how you get your cards. If what you need doesn't come out, then you have to go to the get a 2-pack.
But even if you do get what you need, you can get more powerful turn by doing the 2-pack.
Yeah.
Like the 2-pack could just be so powerful or so not powerful. I just thought that was super swingy.
Yeah. I guess I didn't have that experience, and maybe I didn't have that experience, so that's why it didn't feel like that for me. I was able to sort of get cards that I needed and then adjust my strategy for the most part.
I mean, I was doing the same thing.
I know. Whatever. I didn't mind it. I really like this game, and that didn't feel onerous to me, whereas it felt onerous to you. But
you're wrong and I'm right, so we're all good.
Another thing I thought that was really interesting about this game is that the way you get points is you buy them. And I thought that was really cool. So you get to buy...
And it's a clever mechanism for how you buy them.
You get to buy 1 point every game for 1 coin, or every round for 1 coin. And then you can buy as many more turns as you can afford, or points as you can afford, but they cost the next number up. So if you get to your 5 points with 1 coin, the next point in that round would cost you 6 coins. Right. And then the next one after that would be 7, and then 8, and so on. So,
which if you have the money, you can buy 6, 7, 8 points, but that's 21 more coins that you would need to buy all those points.
Yeah. And I just thought that was such a clever way to do it, instead of the just straight up, like, however many coins you have at the end of the game.
Yeah, it's neat. And it's hard. I could see where somebody gets really ahead in this game, and it's hard to catch up because they bought early or something. Good luck early. But you did catch up to me in both our games, I think. So
yeah, I just felt that was a neat decision space there. Is like, how many coins do you save to buy points versus use them for other things?
And I like the cards drafting option, and I like the planting of your fields and the harvesting of your fields and how that all worked. I thought that all worked well. Everything worked well for me except for I thought that 2-pack action was too all or nothing and could be very swingy, and I didn't like to take that. That was the only negatives I had with the game.
Yeah,
So I
I
liked
agree.
it.
Yeah, okay. I think we basically agree on this. I just had a little bit less of a negative feeling about the swinginess of the 2-packs. So
Yep.
that's all.
Yep. All right, next up on our list is a game. We really only played this once, and that's Truck Off Food Truck Frenzy. I think that's what it's called formally. I don't have it in front of me, but we'll put it on the screen. Anyway, this is a game about food trucks and competing to send your food truck to different venues and get the most money.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's a bit abstracty, really. I mean, you're kind of matching up your food truck tile with the right venue to get the most money, and it's really kind of a betting game, so to speak.
Yeah.
And we played it 2-player. We think this would play a lot better with 3 or 4. So take that caveat into effect, and the fact that we only played it once. But I thought it was okay.
Yeah. So we actually have the roll and write, and I think we like the roll and write better.
Yeah, I like the roll and write better, especially at 2.
Especially at 2. Yeah. We want to break this out with more people and see how it plays with more than just 2. But right now it's just it's okay. I would go with the roll and write if you had a choice.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
So we agree there. And that's Truck Off Food Truck Frenzy.
Yeah.
And so check that out though. If you are looking for that niche of theme in your collection, that could fit it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's,
So our next game is one that I think we're both going to be effusive about. It is still on the table. We're working our way through it.
We're not all the way through. We're about a third, I think, of the way through.
It's a campaign game, and it's called Artisans of Splendent Vale.
Right. So we can update this when we're finished, but so far, absolutely love this game. It's not perfect. I'll talk a little bit about what I don't like about it or what I think could be better. And that's mainly the combat. So this is a campaign game. You're going around exploring a world, and you're doing engaging in combat. I think the mechanisms of the combat are okay.
Yeah.
What I have issues with, and I looked online to see what other people were saying, and there's a lot of agreement on this. It's too easy.
Yeah.
And so there's not a lot of tension in the combat.
Right.
And we went through like 6 combats before one of us took an injury. And you don't die or anything, you just take an injury, then you keep fighting.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I'm okay with that. And I just think it should have been a little harder.
Yeah. But what we do love about it very, very much is that the fighting, the combat is one small part. I'd say it's less than half of what you're doing. The rest of what you're doing is exploring, and there's a whole story that's unfolding, and you go to locations, well, only one of which you have at the beginning, and they sort of reveal themselves, and you look around and you investigate, and each player has a book that matches their character. And so the location might say go to spot 325, and we'll both go to 325. There's a map there. We explore the map. The map tells us to go to location 110. So we go to and read 110, and it'll have different parts for each player. Each player is experiencing it differently.
It's like choose your own adventure, but instead of having one book where 110 has one bunch of text that we all can read and listen to, we each have a 110 in our book, but her 110 has parts that my 110 doesn't.
Yeah.
And so we each have different perspectives. It's so neat.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting. And when you explore an area, there's like numbers showing different things you can explore, and we have different things that we can explore. And so we have things that are unique to our characters. And I just think that's really neat. There's a lot of stuff unique to your characters, and it creates this thing. Like we know, for example, I won't say any more about this. I won't say what character it is, that my character is unnecessarily reckless.
Really?
That's all I'll say.
And we're just having so much fun with that. Like if it's a choice between her character doing something and my character doing something, sometimes we'll be like, no.
We'll pass.
That's not going to end well. And the other thing that I love so much.
So hopefully that's not too spoilery. But
so much. I love so much is the fact that the characters are diverse, right?
They're so interesting.
There's a character that's blind. There's a non-binary character. There's a character that there's dark skin. There's big bodies. There's small bodies. There's, you know, it's super, super diverse, and their personalities are different. And there's one point where one of the characters just decides to spend the evening crying.
Yeah. So that was an action choice. We had choices of what actions we could do when we get home at night after the adventure. And like, it was like, you can just sit around and cry.
I mean, I love that. I love that. And some of them were like, listen to your family tell stories or go to a party.
Yeah.
It's so...
A festival in the street.
Yeah, it's just so much more representative of real people and real experiences. And I love it so much. We are just enjoying this so much.
Another thing I really enjoy is each character has their own crafting ability. And the crafting ability is different. Like one character can do potions, another can craft and enhance weapons and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
and
one specializes in plants. And I mean,
it's real. The whole crafting thing is neat. So like my character deals with potions and they get to explore, like you get to test out like what different ingredients combined make. And you go through the process of figuring that out. It's so neat.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that like, and so the story parts fit in, like you'll find ingredients for your potions or whatever in your own story parts or something like that. But what was I going to say about that? Oh, even so, and you can play, there's like 4 different characters, but if you play with 2 players, it has a way to work in the other characters if you need to.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're not, you're missing stuff, but you're not missing out on stuff that you need that's central for the story
Right.
and the experience. So,
and I know what else I wanted to say. I like the experience points. Normally you play a game like this, you get like 100 experience points is level 2 and you level up in that way.
Yes.
In this one, after every adventure, you get to fill in a certain amount of bubbles on a map or sort of diagram. And then if you fill in the right bubbles, you unlock another skill. It's neat.
It is really neat. It's a very clever way, and you can choose your own path through that map of skills. So it's beautiful. What a beautiful game.
It's a beautiful game. I really hope that Nikki Valens is the designer, and I really hope they come up with a sequel.
Yeah, I do too.
Because I would like to play more of this, and I do think it came with a recharge pack. But I'm not sure how much I would replay it because it's going to be the same story. So I think what we'll do is probably repackage it for a friend and send it over with the repack pack implemented so they can play through it. But I don't see it I don't see us keeping it in our collection after playing through it. I don't know. Maybe we don't know. We haven't gotten to the end, so we don't know if it sets it up in a way to play one-offs or not. But that's just my general thought about the campaign itself. It is a campaign game. It is a longer campaign. I think you would have to play like 20 games to get through it.
At least.
So it's quite a few games to get through it.
It's more than that, I think.
Okay. We don't know exactly.
I think you have to get to more or less the end of the calendar,
yeah,
which
there's
is
a
about
calendar.
30 days.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 25, 30 days. So it could be that many games.
Yeah, but this experience, though, is one that I will carry with me. I don't care if we never play it again. You know, it's like Gloomhaven. You play it and you're done with the scenario, and you can replay it if you want, or done with the campaign. You can replay it if you want, but, you know, it's more or less the same campaign. Doesn't stop it from being a phenomenal game. So this is up there with that. I love this.
The story, though, is a big part. So I do think if you like story games, certainly if you like the diversity in games, this is a really good game for you. Give it a shot.
Absolutely.
The one caveat being the combat being so easy.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Our next game. Go ahead. You want to introduce it?
Sure. Our next game is a puzzle game. We're technically still working through this too, although we're pretty far through it. And that is The Light in the Mist. Now, this is another in a series of puzzle games from Post Curious, which I believe is being distributed by All Play as well now. And Post Curious, in my opinion, makes the best puzzle games that I've played.
Bar none.
And I haven't played them all, obviously, so, you know. But it is so good. This is so much better than I expected because it's based on a simple deck of tarot cards. And each tarot card has multiple puzzles on it. But then you mix and match and you choose different cards for each puzzle. and you have like 21 different puzzles you're playing through, and each puzzle's different, and just it's so good. Some puzzles are really good, some puzzles are good, some puzzles are, there are a couple puzzles that aren't quite as good or you know,
super easy.
Yeah. But they're all interesting for the most part, and it's just really fun.
Now, I do want to say it's a little bit hard for us to give a really accurate account of the first half of the game because we failed to realize that there were like a starting paragraph you read that gave you sort of a starting hint on where to go
on each
puzzle, right? Each card. And so there were a couple times we were like, this is ridiculous. This is so hard. I don't get it. What are we supposed to do? And eventually had to go get a hint. And finally, one time when the hint was like, oh yeah, the beginning hint told you this. And we looked at each other and said, what beginning hint? And that's how we found out we were doing it wrong. So that might have changed our experience a little bit. But even with that misstep, which made some puzzles really hard, it's still amazing. They do, I agree, the best job. They're my favorite puzzle games.
And I do want to mention this is a story game as well.
Yeah.
And the story here is not, I wouldn't say it's as good as Artisans of Splendent Vale, but it's interesting. And you read it out of order, most likely, depending on how you play it. And that's also kind of interesting. And the only thing I have to say, and we'll find out when we get to the end, is that because there's so much story, and I think you need to know the story for the end of the game solution, I think that's going to be a little complicated because it's taking us a few weeks to play through it.
Yeah. I mean, they say like this is a 5-hour game or whatever, or 4-hour game.
Is
but
it really?
Something like that. I don't know
what. They really say that?
Look on the thing.
Okay, I'll pull it up.
They say it's a very long game. We've broken it up into just doing one card, sometimes more than one card a night, but
they say 5 to like 10 hours.
Yeah.
Total, but we probably are going to take longer than that.
Yeah,
we're playing a couple cards a night, and there's like 21 cards you have to play through, and we're playing a couple cards a night. Not every night.
Yeah, so. Yeah. So it is a long one. It's actually, I think, much longer than their others. The others were a couple of sessions. It took us a couple of sessions, but not nearly as many. So, which is incredible because it's just a deck of tarot cards.
There's so much play in it. It's unbelievable. So much more than you realize.
It really, wow. They're so good. My gosh, I'm so impressed with everything they do.
Yeah, everything they've done has been great. We also have another one to play through in the Morrison Game Factory. So we're looking forward to that. But I would definitely check out Post Curious. Really, anything from them. If you like puzzle games, it's totally worth checking out.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yep.
So our next game is part of Uwe-Palooza, and that is Caverna.
All right, this is one that we never bought because we had Agricola. We had the Caverna Cave versus Cave Farmer, the 2-player. We're like, do we really need Caverna? Yeah. We need Caverna.
We sure do.
It is so good. So we finally bought it, and it's so good. It is like an improved Agricola. It really is. I like Agricola theme-wise a little bit better. It's just a little bit more historically congruent. But this has like dwarves and caves and stuff. But it's really, really good.
Yeah, we played it on BGA, and that's where I think we were like, we really need to get this. And
I didn't know what I was doing on BGA. I didn't read the rules.
I didn't really either. But we got enough of a taste of it to know like, okay, we actually really want this. And we loved it. It really is, you know, I think the next iteration of Agricola, which is what everybody says. And it is, I love it. I love the arming your dwarves to send them out on adventures. The feeding mechanism is a little bit less punishing than Agricola. It's still most rounds you have to feed your family,
which can be tough. And I found it can take over your actions.
It can,
and that's tricky.
Yeah.
But it's a good game. It's really good. It's basically another Agricola, but it's not a clone at all, and it's just fun. And I think we'll keep both in our collection.
I think so too. We're playing a game right now on BGA where I'm having that, like, all I'm doing is feeding my family every round. That's it. This is terrible game.
I didn't, and I got a couple beggar cards or whatever you call them. So.
I'm tempted. I think actually the round we're in right now is just like, you know what? I'm just going to wing it and see what happens because I need to make some progress in other areas. But I mean, that is sort of the fun mental challenge or puzzle with a lot of those Uwe games is how do you balance out that need to feed your family and progress where it's going to get your points. So I love it. I love it so much. Oh,
so if you've heard good things about Caverna, we're just another pair of people saying, yes, great game, fantastic. Uwe, especially if you like the Uwe Agricola vein of gaming.
Yep, absolutely.
So definitely a win. Caverna, thumbs up. The next game on our list is a game from Button Shy Games, but designed by Jason Tagmeyer, and that is Polyheduel. So this is basically just a dice game where you're rolling dice and trying to win little one-on-one battles of different dice. But there's cards, and the cards allow you to manipulate the dice, and so you might have a D8 battling off against a D6, but the D6 lets you do a reroll, or the D4 lets you win as long as you roll a 4 or whatever. And it's pretty fun, actually.
Yeah, I actually especially thought this was a nice travel game or game for being out and about as you're waiting for things. You could shove it in your pocket with a handful of dice and just pull it out while you're at a restaurant or at an airport or, you know, wherever, out and about waiting for something to happen, because it is very quick, but it's really fun. And we played it and I was like, okay, we got to play it again.
Yeah.
I did terribly. Let's play again. And it's just that type of game that, you know, isn't probably ever going to show up in my top 100, but when it gets to the table, we're like, yeah, okay, let's go. It's satisfying. It's like a crunchy snack.
Yep, very good. So I think this is fun and definitely worth a try. It's very light, very quick game, 5-10 minute play, a little dueler, so dueling game. But I think it's a dueling game most people won't mind. It's quick. If you don't like dueling games, you might even still enjoy it. So.
Yeah. All right. Our next game is part of a series from Deadbolt Mysteries. And this is a subscription you got me one year for, I think, my birthday or for Christmas, where they came every month. And it's a little mystery in a box. It's like an exit game, or it's not really exit. It's not really puzzles. It's more of a mystery. Like you're solving the mystery. You're following the clues. You're maybe opening some envelopes. You're getting cards that tell you things. And we started this right as you got sick. And so we have a whole shelf of them that we've never played. And we're really excited to get to these to the table because they're really fun and satisfying. We played recently The Circle. And I have to admit, I can't remember all that much about it.
The story had a heavy lean on voodoo.
Oh, yes, that's right.
It was fun. It was interesting. It was fun. The puzzles are good. This is very different from Post Curious. The puzzles are much easier. And it is much more linear of a puzzle solve. Like solve this puzzle, usually not too hard. Solve the next puzzle, but it's fun. It's fun to work through them and get to the end. That's how I feel about it. Yeah,
and we just love these. We love the story. You know, we watch a lot of mystery TV shows. It just feels like that, but more interactive and something that you're actually participating in. These would be great to play with family that maybe aren't super big gamers as a nice entry point. They'd be, I think, fun. I don't want to say as a party because you couldn't do it with too many people. I think it'd be hard to do with too many people, but it's not restricted. Like, okay, you play this person and you play this person. So it has that sort of flexible. It's
probably best with 2 to 4, I would say. You could even do it solo though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's just kind of like working your way through a bunch of free-form puzzles.
Yeah. And do they still have these available as a subscription?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm on their website right now, and you can subscribe month to month. There's a 6-month subscription prepaid, 3-month prepaid, 12-month prepaid. They have some
month to month.
You have different options, and it's
And
we did it for like a year, so we still have a bunch to play through, to be honest. We're a little behind. And if you go, you can also buy the boxes one by one, and they have the highlighted the box of the year for a couple of years and stuff like that. So you can pick those out, or
Yep.
you know.
Oh, they have a sale on some of them, so you might want to head over to Deadbolt Mysteries website and grab yourself a mystery.
Yep. No, I think these are fine. They're not the best puzzles. They're good puzzles though, and they're fun.
Yeah, I think the story in them is what makes them shine. They really are story forward. It is like being in an episode of a crime drama and being part of the solving of the mystery.
Yeah, and each box, what, 2 to 4 hours tops?
Tops, yeah.
They're not very long, so they're a couple hours, 3 hours maybe solve.
Yeah, and they definitely have a broad range in themes. So like you said, the one we did was sort of voodoo, had some like historical elements to it, but I know there's one about like a hacker, and there's one where somebody goes missing, and just like a whole variety. You could kind of pick and choose what sounds interesting to your group.
Yep. All right, so that's The Circle, or Deadbolt Mystery Society. Our next up on our list, and our last game, is one we actually technically played before but never played in person. We finally played it, and it did not disappoint, and that is Applejack.
Yeah, Uwe. Man, he's so good.
We really like Applejack. It's basically an abstract game, but you're collecting apples, and you want to get you want to collect as many different kinds of apples as possible, but you also collect if you get a certain kind of apples at a certain time, you collect income based on those apples of honey. Honey's the currency in the game. And really fun game. I love the warm feeling the game has, and I think the theme does bring that out. The theme does really work, even though it's technically an abstract. And the only complaint I had about the game is I thought the components could have been prettier. And if they come out with a deluxe version, I'm totally buying it.
Yeah. We even looked to see if we could get deluxe pieces for it. Because it feels very mass market produced. But it is, I think, in his line of abstract games, Sagani, Framework, Nova Luna, this is definitely in that line. But the apples,
it's so cute. It's my favorite.
Yeah, line, yeah. So. I mean, it's got that great solid, mechanics of all of those games that makes those really good games. I love all of those games, right? But again, the apples just make it feel so much warmer, and the art is charming on it, and I'm a sucker for good art and for like feeling that those homey country vibes, and it's just a really good game. Yeah, so we loved it. Playing it in person, I think made it even more, raised it up in my estimation.
But you can play it on BGA if you want to get familiar with it first before you buy it. And I know that Foster the Meeple is also a big fan of this, I believe, and it's just a good game.
Yeah, and actually, if you want to play it on BGA with us, just let us know. Hit us up. We'd love to play it.
So that is the 9th episode of Shelf of Shameful Opportunity, and I hopefully you enjoyed it.
All right. Remember,
every day that you game
is a holiday.
Bye, everyone.